So sometimes these accidents are really nice, but we didn't know of this meeting until we got this mail from Jørgen. Of course, Denmark has been participating from the beginning, but then we lost contact. So this is the new team, and we are very happy to be here. And it's very developing for us, and we discover a lot of things that we can learn from. And also, this is a little bit different approach, because I will just shortly tell you about a main project in Denmark, where I'll tell you a little bit about the background, why we work this way as in a project developing a method for men, self-help for men, about the exploring the method, and also that we use evaluation design. We are developing a design, and what impact this actually has for the self-help in Denmark, because this is the first time that we try also to develop a design of evaluation. So that's a very interesting discussion we had until now. We also have a history of self-help for almost 30 years. The self-help in Denmark developed out, if you could say that roughly, from the women liberation movement. So a lot of the groups from that time has been women groups. And in the 80s, as Kasper was going through yesterday, this morning, so it's a long day. It has, we had a lot of activity in the 80s. And also now we have a lot of self-help groups, women groups, we have grievance groups, as we talked about, some has talked about. We have a lot of divorce and violence groups for women. And we have a lot of relatives groups, for example, brain damage, relatives to people with brain damage, relatives to people with different diseases, but also illness. We have long groups, and we have anxiety and depression groups. We are some kind of following up groups, as when the official health program have their groups in anxiety and depression, then we can follow up, help them to follow up. But we mostly get our money from the social ministry, and most of you also get money from the health ministry. So this is very new to us, and it's very interesting actually. But we had sorry. In 2008, I think, we have tried to find out, and we developed, found out what were the self-help groups working about in Denmark, and we developed a change management model to find out the pathways. Which ways are we going to find out that the participants get these results out? And so our understanding of self-help has been very much around these groups from the past. And now we're also trying to look at the self-help groups for men. And the background is, of course, that almost 90 or 99% of the participants are women. So we're trying to find out what would be interesting if we would attract men, and also because in the health, in the volunteer centers, it's mostly women. So what would, no, I forgot to tell you that we got funds from the social ministry to develop something to the men. And this is a development project to find a method for the men. but it's a totally different approach when it's the men. We worked for the first year in this project. We have been investigating and talking to the gender scientists in Denmark, and to try to find out what different approach do we need to take, and what is the situation in this equality and gender equality problems for men to develop, to participate. And the first thing that they say is just like, it's really difficult, because the situation right now for the men is like, if you look at the masculinity definitions, there's not only one, but this is exactly what is the most important reason why we should make self-help for men, because it should be an open space to find out more masculinities. We also looked at some of the health scientists and asked them what kind of health discourse right now are the men looking at, and of course you all know that if you're looking at the living range, average living time for men and women,
life expectancy.
Life expectancy, exactly. You see that Denmark is actually number 19 out of 26, but you see that the men are living not as long as the women. The men are blue and the women are the red. And you see all the countries here in Europe that they, of course, we have something to work with in the health system, first of all. But this also is the social and mental area. So and about men in society and the suicide. Also, this is the age of the men, and the men are the blue and the women are the red. So you see that the men has a leading position in suicide as well. Oh, sorry. And in relation to how many men are, you know, in Denmark we don't have, as in Germany, free psychotherapy. In Denmark it costs at least €100 per hour. And from all the men who are henvist from the doctor. The
doctor is telling you, giving you the fund to go to the referral.
They when the men are referred from the doctor.
No, we understand.
Yeah. You understand? To go to a psychologist or psychiatrist. This is the men that how little the men are using this advice compared to the women. So also we look at a lot of course, stereotypes and prejudices. Why? And also we talk about the background for this project is that the masculinity is actually dangerous if you look at this old way of masculinity. The old picture of the big wheel, the sturdy oak, and all this. So, actually, if I should just say a few words from the gender scientists about what is the dilemma for the men right now. Of course, it's a lot of expectations that you should be the protector, you should be the supporter, the seductor. The dilemma is also, of course, is you have one leg where you expect to be responsibility on one leg, and the other leg to have freedom and independence. And this is one of some of the things that the men are the dilemmas for the masculinity right now. And this is some of the gender in the pre-project that we have asked the gender scientists. And also we are looking at the problems about motivation. Why should you join a group, a self-help group? So the two hypotheses for this project is that of course we have to work to develop something special for the men, and also that we have to use another kind of communication. And compared to the old change management models that we developed for women, of course we have to really take care not to fall into pitfalls like trying to do the same things. And this is why the reason why we have to try and think new ways and try to develop something else. So the background, to sum it up, is looking for some kind of method. And of course, this is not like maybe this is not the only way to have a self-help group for men, but this is the first step to try and get the men to join us, to visit us in Denmark. So maybe this is actually a campaign, but also we really hope to find out get some results out of this and some kind of little bit of evidence eventually. So we're looking at the gender virtues, the dilemmas, and the motivation, and we have developed a program actually, and I can send this. We have an English abstract in this one. This is extra abstract because there's not enough. Yeah. Det er nogen, der skal være her. We have developed the program for this project. 8 men, 8 weeks. The 8 men are meeting for 8 meetings, and each meeting has a subtitle. And right now we have. I'll just tell you shortly about the titles for the 8 meetings. And the first meeting is talking about something that's difficult right now. Just to put in words what is difficult right now. And we have a group leader in the group, but he's not a teacher or a therapist. He's joining the group, but he has just been educated the subtitles. And he's also got a list of good questions. If the discussion stops, you can try to ask this and this. And but it's not therapy. But the first meeting, they just try to each tell a story about something that's difficult right now, and the rest of the group is of course mirroring and witnessing, telling their own angles to the same story if they feel like. The second meeting is strengthening mutual relations. It's about telling a story about one good relation you had in your life. And third meeting, what do you want? What would you like out of life? Just to put in words on this. Responsibility and freedom and masculinity is that subtitle, especially for this dilemmas I talked about before. And it has, in the groups that we had until now, it has been really, really interesting for the men to discuss this subject. And yeah, you can really write. Yeah. Yep.
Excuse me, but how did you find the man? Can you tell why did they come? What was the reason? Cause for?
Yeah.
Why did they come?
Yeah. Okay. So one of the number 7 meeting, they have this life rope, and they put a rope on the floor, and they stand on the rope, and I know it's a little bit similar to a lot of therapy methods, but this has just been a nice way to discuss my present. I stand on the rope, and they tell a story about something difficult now, and then they remember the former meetings, and they discuss different aspects to this from the past and the future. The first group we tried this in the fall last year, and the first groups of men were only the target group was only divorced men. So we have contact through all the local newspapers. We have a postcard. I think you have seen it in the. We have these postcards in different organizations. For example, this organization called A.P.Θ, and some of the participants came from there. It's legal assistance advisory. You can get free legal advice in this place if you're a divorced man. And we got some of the participants from there, and we got a lot of them from the newspaper. And we had we made some press releases and got some. First time we got some press, but now it's really growing, and it has been a really big interest from the press, because this is new, very new for us in Denmark. And in the spring we had a new group, and then this time we have invited men who are unemployed and fired. So we also go to the local unemployed centers and give them the postcard. But even this time the press interest has been enormous. We've been in television programs, and we have been in all the newspapers and front pages, and men who have been in the first groups, they are telling their stories. So now it's already living, and it's spreading a word already now that compares to some of the folders from England and Norway. And the small education that they get, of course they get a preview of the 8 meetings, and we have this coach who's working in some of the male crisis centers, and he's helping them and guiding them, and they train difficult discussions with men, and he has a long experience about men. And it has been very good for them just to try to get into this room and discuss. And they discussed their own private problems. It was not like theory, or I'm a psychiatrist and the group is clients, but they all discussed their own situations and their own lives on the seminar.
Excuse me?
Yeah. 3 days.
In the picture before, it seems that they have a lot of paper on their table.
Yeah. Yeah, they get this manual, 8 meetings, and for each subtitle there's a little explanation why this is a good. Yeah, and then I have some cases. For example, they have some stories from other men, just to get examples about what could it be. And then they also have examples of good questions, how to ask. And maybe it sounds very different from self-help, but when we have talked to one of the biggest scientists in Denmark who work with men in depression, he told us that when you give out this questionnaire, maybe in the beginning they were expecting men that they didn't want to fill out, but it was a big relief for the men, actually, because here there was a lot of questions, and you could, a lot of inspiration to put words on your feelings. So this putting things on words, actually, for men, this has been one of the things that we have got from the scientists, from the gender scientists, that we should really wake up. And they're training, starting, and if someone is talking a lot, then how can you just the whole group be responsible for what's happening in the room, and just to speak up about what's happening. We also have this evaluation. We're developing an evaluation design, and that's very new to self-help in Denmark. A lot of our funding expects us to have evidence-based theories or evidence-based practice. And it takes a lot to be evidence-based. It takes a lot of data, actually, to get there. But we are starting slowly. And some of the backgrounds for that is, of course, that if we would like to get more funding to self-help, and to, especially also for the men's self-help and the self-help in general, we must try to find, this is actually the motivation for making this evaluation design, to find out what's the active ingredients that's helpful. What is the element that helps in a self-help group? When we're developing a method that potentially helps men, that this is what we would like to. And also, of course, finding appropriate marketing task of the project. This could be some of the values. And the hypothesis is, of course, that it profits to be in a self-help group, that it depends on participants' experience of social support from the group, at the meetings, identification with the group, voluntary manager's ability to represent the group, and it's called voluntary manager, but it's not like a leader, but he's also participating. And also we are measuring according to the more value-oriented actions before and after, and greater satisfaction with life. And then we have, of course, we have developed the questionnaires, and it's one of our colleagues who's a PhD in group psychology who developed the questionnaire for us. And just a little resources.
That's it's like one question before, in the middle, and after the 8 meetings.
Yeah. So it's very interesting for us to see what's coming out of this. But one of the things that we already got out of this, out of two rounds, we got this first round with the men who was divorced, and then the round with the unemployed men. It's very, very popular. It's very interesting to see that the men are discovering that we do something. So some of the next steps, of course, for us is also just to, of course, I think it's really interesting that that maybe this could help developing more interest for self-help in Denmark. We don't have any fundings for self-help. It's zero. We have to get this private funding, and every time we do something, we have to fund it. So maybe we can develop this, and also try to look more in the health ministry. Yeah.
One little, we don't use the word self-help at all to this concept. This is we are using the name. We're using the name "Come on, man" in Danish. It sounds better. So we don't use the word self-help.
There was a try to continue this group after the 8th meeting, maybe by themselves, and then it can be self-help. Okay.
Well, we don't know yet.
Yeah. Some of the groups continued after.
To make by themselves.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, exactly. And I think I got a few quotes also in the abstract from some of the guys. And we have a few male crisis centers in Denmark, but they have at least 4 or 5 new men every day knocking on the door, And this is the men who go there. So there's a lot of need of support groups or self-help groups for men. And also there's right now there's a big program about violence men.
I think it's a very good step to get the men into the self-help movement. I just was wondering one question: the volunteering leaders,
Yeah.
are they chosen by you, or are they chosen by the men? And do they have the same? Do they have or had the same experience like the other 8 men?
Yes. Yes. We have this network in Denmark called the volunteering.
It's like a national job database.
Job database for volunteering that Friese is organizing. And we have put out a job announcement there, and people have applied from there. And they sent some words saying, I would really like to try being volunteer in self-help groups. And could it be interesting for me? And then I meet with, because this is like a pilot.
Yeah.
So of course it's possible, still possible that I talk to them, to each of them, have a small talk with them about what is your personal interest in trying that, and they have been divorced themselves, or maybe they have been in the men crisis center, and they think that there's a need for something else. So groups for men is actually something that is needed, but it's not very well known yet, but it's starting. So this is just a small part of what we do in self-help, but this is very different. Other questions?
Just a little question about the divorce. I want to know if all the program is dedicated to the topic of divorce, or also to other kind of the problems you talk of men.
Of course, we hope that this method would be appropriate for all kind of crisis groups or big change in life. Right now we are having some meetings with the veterans, and we are going to make meetings for veterans from Afghanistan, and as a next pilot. And also we are talking to the scientists who work with the men and birth depression. And if you don't know, then in Denmark, 11% of women who gives birth have a depression, and 7% of men get a depression.
Really?
So it's really big. It's much bigger than you know. And one of the reasons also why there's so many men who don't get treatment for depression in Denmark is one of the problems. The scientists say it's that the way that you discover the questionnaires is made for women. So we are starting a new a big development in Denmark in this area, and we are when we talk to the scientists, they say that it's very welcoming that we are making groups for men in this area, because we already have maternal groups for women, but it's something. This is totally different, and it has to be in a more neutral place. And these volunteer centers are neutral places. It's not the official. It's not the midwife or you have this health person that you talk to after you give birth. It's not her who made this group. this is somewhere you can go outside your own town and and you can be anonymous, and you can there's no registration at all. And this is also what we have. Of course, we have the questionnaire and the evaluation design, but it's also anonymous.